And it looks like we're live. What is going on, everybody? Tyler Carlston with the Mortgage Accelerated Podcast. And today we have Josh Pitts from Shred Media. How you doing, Josh?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Busy as ever. How about yourself?
Dude, crazy right now. It's nuts because I hear people, this is the summer break, and me and Jason were actually just talking about this. It baffles me right now that people are I'm all about taking a vacation, enjoying life, but now couldn't be a better time with rates as low as they are, the industry, all that's going on. When people are taking breaks right now, it drives me nuts. Now is like the all-in time. This roller coaster that loan officers put themselves through is crazy. Now is the time to be absolutely just crushing it. So hopefully all of you who are watching and listening are taking advantage.
Yeah, that's pretty funny you mentioned that. I mean, it's actually hard for me to sleep because I'm like, I'm wasting so much opportunity when I'm sleeping.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So, Josh, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where'd you come from? What's a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, so my backstory, I've been as most people know, been in the mortgage industry for a long time, and I started as a junior LO myself, and really, I love doing that. As I became, a loan officer, what was really cool is when I was a loan officer, when I first started as a loan officer, I had some great mentors, had some people around me that were awesome, and I got to just learn so much from each one of them. But what was cool is early on in my career, I got really excited about, and I saw these top producers. There was Scotsman's Guide, there was all these guys getting these awards, and I'm like, well, man, how do I become one of those people? And I ended up taking it upon myself to go out and basically interview, kind of like I do now, interview top producers, top company CEOs. And then next thing I knew, like I had just this wealth of knowledge. And the funniest thing, to be honest, Tyler, was I learned from these people, all these people that I met with and I talked to, these top producers, they all had a few things in common. And all those few things were simple. Like, it wasn't like mind blowing. It was like, hey, be consistent. Like, hey, hard work. It was these things that we talk about all the time. And those were the ones, like the top 1, 2, 3, like best of the best in the industry, and they were doing simple things. So I decided, like, hey, there is no secret sauce to this business. I'm just going to go. I'm going to implement. I'm going to work hard, and I did. And I produced for a few years. It was a top producer in the country. I had a lot of fun with that, and owned a brokerage here in Utah, which we had a ton of fun with, me and my partner and a couple of partners, and we had like 50 LOs at one time, and just cranking out and having a good time. And then kind of got into the social realm of things. I've always used social media. I've always known it's a powerful platform, but then really started getting into trying to make an impact and really trying to, unite the industry. And that's exactly, I went from, anybody who's followed me throughout my career is I did the Daily LO Life for a little while, changed from that brand. And now we have Shred Media, which Shred has absolutely just blown up. I'm grateful to have Jason Frazier and some other people on our team as we continue to grow. And it's funny because you were asking me, because a lot of people are like, well, what is Shred? You hear it's a media company. Are you guys a media outlet? Not so much. We love to, if you watch our Shred Interrupt today, we love giving everybody the most valuable content and information that's out there. And typically we try to focus on like tactical things that you can hear that are truly useful for your business, but you can also go and implement. It's going to help you grow. But Shred really, and as people, like I said, continue to ask us, Shred really is an attention impact agency. That's what we're starting to brand. That's what people are recognizing us as. So Shred AI has kind of become this big thing for us, which not artificial intelligence, but attention impact. So and we're loving it. This attention that we're creating, the conversations, the collaboration that's stirred up. When I first founded Shred, my original vision and our message was uniting the industry through collaboration. And now it's just evolved. And now the Shred, the attention impact that we're creating, it's a lot of fun, man. We're enjoying it. We're just enjoying, like you mentioned, even, and as we talked about in the beginning, now is the absolute best time that in my entire career, to be honest. Early on in my career, there were some great interest rates. Lowest of the low. I remember, like, I was doing 30-year refis at like 3.125. Like, we're doing some FHA loans like super low. I remember I got a 15-year. One of our really good friends, we got a 15-year at like 2.35. So I remember when rates were great. It was a heyday. Rates are still phenomenal now, but now couldn't be a better time. Like we're saying, rates are still fantastic. The market itself is just perfectly primed. And those who are taking advantage of building a brand, getting their message out there, and getting people and building those relationships like we always talk about, they're going to be the ones who are dominating. So anyway, that was kind of a long roundabout way about me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Josh, I want to touch on what you said a little bit. So, what do you mean exactly by unite the industry? Could you dive a little bit more into that?
100%, man. So, as everybody knows, I'm a mortgage broker. My license currently hangs in a broker with some of my good friends here in Utah. I don't own a company anymore. Like I said, I did that for a while. It was fun. I started as a broker. I went to the retail side. I did some correspondent lending for a while as well, which was awesome. So I do understand both sides of it. The broker world has always been a good fit for me. And, there's a lot of talk between broker and banker, retail, wholesale. And I'm a huge proponent, but both have incredible sides. And I think we talked about this today on Shred Interrupt, is that it really is whatever is best for that loan officer in particular. Is I think both channels, again, there's pros and cons to both. And we're actually next Friday, a week from today, we're actually having that discussion with Evan Wade and Scott Groves, who Evan's on the broker side, Scott's on the banking side, and we're going to have a discussion. But when I talk about uniting the industry through collaboration, we all have pieces that we can bring together. And if we're willing to have an open dialogue, we can benefit. There truly is enough business. And when I say that, I'll clarify that in here in just a second. But there's plenty of business for those who are actually willing to go out and work hard and willing to do things like this and put their name out there and to build a brand. There is plenty of business. Now, those who aren't, I still think people still ask me all the time, like, Josh, is it truly relevant to have a page to build a brand? Absolutely. And if you're not doing it, there are some people I've heard people talk behind my back and even say like, oh, Josh is just saying this, but I still, close $50 million a year in business. And I've never even touched social media. That's great. It's not always about social media, but everybody builds a brand. Like I don't say you have to get on Facebook and do Facebook Live or LinkedIn or whatever. Building your brand, and your brand is what people say about you when you're not there. So whether you use social media is just leveraging it. People who don't use social media, people who don't use these platforms, they're just crazy because your reach could be even that. If you're a $50 million a year producer and you're doing it without social media, your reach, your audience, the relationships you're building could be 2 or 3 times that. And that's what I tell people. So do you have to have social media? No. Your reach is just much wider and much broader.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so many people are still living how it was 20, 30 years ago, where they're strictly relying on referrals, never going online. I mean, your ideal customer is out there online right at this second. And if you're not on there trying to reach them, guess what? Someone else is, and they're probably going to win their business.
Oh, yeah. And so going back to the uniting the industry through collaboration, as I've traveled the country and got to have so many great discussions and with loan officers to executives, I really found that everybody was actually willing to collaborate. It just had to be the right person in the middle, myself, Shred Media, to really start that conversation. And it'd be like, hey, I want to bring people together. I want to have a collaborative. I want to have a collective. I want to have these great discussions because everybody does have a little piece to share, and everybody does business in their own way. They have unique pieces of it. Like I said, there's no secret sauce, but everybody has something that they're doing that's unique that's really helped them. So being able to collaborate and bring those ideas together so somebody can be like, wow, that is a fantastic idea. I'm going to go take that. I'm going to go run with it. Those top producers, top executives, they are willing to share these ideas, these tactics. So a lot of what my show is based on, and as it continues to be based on, are those tactics and strategies. So if you hear something, you're like, wow, like I'm Tyler, like I can go do that. So I'm going to go implement that and I'm going to start it today. So collaboration, I think, is absolutely critical. And especially as the industry continues to evolve, continue to develop, I think you have to be willing to collaborate even when it's competitors. I mean, when it comes down to it, even at the end of the day, even if we're at the same brokerage, if you're part of the same company, you technically compete. Every loan officer competes for business. That doesn't mean, and I'm all about competition. If I'm on the court and I'm competing against another loan officer in my office, you bet I'm gonna bring my A game. I want to kick your ass. But when we get off the court, that doesn't mean we can't be friends and shake hands and make sure it's a fair game across the board. you have to be willing to have that type of mentality, that collaboration mentality, or you will be left in the past. I know that for a fact. We've seen it in other industries. We're starting to see it now. Like you mentioned, Tyler, some of this mentality, this old mind frame, and I'm not saying older, but just this mindset, the narrative has to change. And, if we have to be the ones to do it, then we're going to do it. And I mentioned this to you earlier. A lot of people ask, well, why, what's your why behind Shred? And we really want to save the industry from itself. And to kind of explain that, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but the industry has to change, or your large fintech companies. I mean, the announcement that we talked about today, Quicken partnering up with State Farm, these big, huge conglomerates that have millions and millions of dollars to dump into consumers, we will lose unless we really get out of our own way, work together, collaborate, and that's the only way we can win.
Yeah, I mean, you made some really good points there, and agree 100%. So Josh, tell me a little bit. What's in store for Shred Media the next 6 months to a year? What's your guys' goals? I understand you want to help the industry, but what's some goals that you haven't spoke about yet?
Yeah, so, dude, some of the big things, like next week, we're going to Inman. We're going to be speaking at that conference, which is really cool, being invited to go to Inman and speak on stage. Jason and I are actually running the entire marketing track. So, I mean, it's not just like a speaking engagement. We are the ones hosting the entire marketing track. So in front of thousands and thousands of real estate agents. So people just think because Jason and I have backgrounds in mortgage, people think we're really focused on mortgage. We definitely have an emphasis on mortgage because that's our background, but we work a lot within the real estate side as well, because real estate, mortgage, insurance, title, they're all in our eyes. That's why we refer to the industry a lot. It's because they're all in one. So next week we're going to be at Inman, and a couple weeks after that we're going to be at a whole bunch more conferences. And when it comes to goals, we truly we go to these shows, we go to these events, and even the smaller events. We get we'll give a shout out to Christine Beckwith and 2020 Vision for Success. We're going to be speaking at her event, and she's got some incredible people coming to that event. Some incredible people that are willing to come down. They're willing to engage. They're willing to share what they've done to be really big. So we have that event coming up, and that's our goal. Is just continuing to go to events like this, continuing to educate, continuing to collaborate. And there's some big things. Actually, Jason and I are really excited because I can't mention them yet, but there's some really big announcements that we're about to make with some partners that we're excited to be announcing. So a lot of big things on the horizon. We're just getting started, and we feel really blessed and very fortunate to what we've created up to this point. But dude, when I say we're just getting started, we're seriously just freaking getting started. There is so much more. We get people commenting every once in a while, like, you guys put out a lot of content. Like, you're going to put out more? Hell yeah, we are. We're going to continue to put out more and more. And it's going to be more and more relevant. We're really getting focused and tactical on what we're actually giving out to the industry.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what's in store. I mean, I know big things are going to come from it. And like I said, just overall super pumped to see what's going to happen. So, Josh, I do thank you for coming on. That is all the time that we have today. Everybody tuning in, thank you for watching. If you're catching the replay, drop a hashtag replay. Thank you again. And tune in next Friday for the next episode of the Mortgage Accelerated Podcast.